And I'm back again for the second time today, but you'll only know that if you are watching this live. If you're not watching it live and you're catching up on the Spotify or other things, then I could be just here at any time of the day, just for you. But it is just for you, just you alone, and nobody else that's listening. They're just insignificant. It's just for you. In a minute, I'm going to be speaking to Monika, but first we'll watch together or listen together, depending upon whether you're driving down the M25 at the moment, this video or this piece of music from Analog Trash.
Keep on, don't stop.
So, in case any of you aren't feeling particularly well, we have a doctor in the house today. Although I presume you're not that kind of doctor, are you? You're Dr. Monika Demmler. Thanks for joining me. You have a PhD.
Yes, I'm not a dentist.
No, you're not a dentist. You're not a medical doctor. What did you do your PhD in?
My PhD was in literature and music and ecology.
Fantastic. I love speaking to clever people. It's always, I don't mind speaking to people that aren't so clever as well. But it's always nice to have especially at this time of day, have a fairly intellectual conversation. What made you do your PhD in those combined different areas?
My professor was focused on ecology and literature, and then I somehow I got a scholarship in the US, in Vermont, and my professor introduced me to blues, jazz, and hip hop philosophy, and that was really fascinating to me, and so I decided to learn more about it and combine it with ecology, like nature, how to find yourself and like reconnect with nature, like human nature, and like to feel like you're part of like the bigger scene.
Yeah. What was the main thing? I'm taking your incredibly important PhD now, and I'm condensing it down for the sake of this interview, which is a little bit crass. But what was the main sort of thing that you kind of learned from all of that study?
Like the main thing, the background where it's all based on is like the breakdown of what's happening right now, like the breakdown of the system we've had so far, and now like why that is like contributing to creating a new system, kind of like through the positive functions of music. And like for like where we are heading to is now like trying to find a healthy balance between ecology, like a return back to nature, and like the advances or the progress of technology, like to find that, to bring that together, you know.
Okay, that's really interesting. So it's one of the things that I talk quite a lot about during the day. So on the one hand, I think that everybody out there is, and do you know what, we're going to talk about music in a minute in a big way, all right? So, but I don't hope you don't mind me delving into this. So on the one hand, I feel like as people, we've all got busier, right? Because we're all more connected by technology, and sort of technology means that we're all on more, and therefore it's easier for us to almost be working all of the time, because once upon a time you could say, well, I've finished that because you ran out of paper, and then and then you know that was the end of your work. But now it's like you can't say those sort of things, because you switch your phone on at the beginning of the day and there the work starts, and you know, machines keep you online all of the time. So I think we're all, you know, scrabbling around like blue ass flies, trying to get all of our work done, etc. And we're all more connected with more parts of the world, and yeah, it's a busy life. And then, you know, things like AI are a sort of double-edged sword, because on the one hand, they kind of make processes and things that we would have spent hours doing much more efficient. But then on the other hand, they also mean that we create this time, but that time can then get filled with more work, etc. In part of all of that study that you were doing, do you feel how important was the essence of time in all of that? Because do you feel like we, somewhere in the balance side of things, we need to work out where our time needs to be? So in other words, let's leverage technology to help us be more effective, but to make time, and then that time we need to spend on things like sorting out what we're doing with the planet, and actually spending time in nature and helping nature recover from all of the rubbish that we've spent years doing to it.
Well, talking about time, that comes like when I wrote my PhD, I stumbled upon a concept of time. Like there's different concepts of time. We have like the eternal time, like which is kind of like a spiritual time, which is like endless. And then we have like more this earthen time. And so I think to live a healthy way is also find a balance between that, like not only live on the earthen time, but also like be connected to like take time off from like the busy social media.
Take time off from the watch time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think we are in a process right now in the world. It's like it's like we're still like learning how to handle all of that. So I think we are still in the beginning, and now we need to learn. Like, I mean, as human beings, we can't be like 24 hours like looking at screens. And I was sometimes I'm thinking, oh God, my eyes, what's doing to my eyes? Like when I'm constantly like looking at the screen. So I guess I hope so, and I'm pretty sure I think we figure out some solution that is working. But I think like especially during the pandemic, we used like all the technology so much, which we haven't done before yet. And then it just like overtook. But now we are back in the real world, so we need to learn how do we do that. Like during the pandemic, everyone was just sitting home on their computer because there was nothing to do, and now we are out in the real world and need to combine that. And yeah,
it's one of my theories, right? And I could be right, I could be wrong, as John Lydon once sang. I think that one of the reasons why more people are going back to listening to music on physical format, particularly vinyl, is because, not just because of the way it sounds or whatever, but is because of the time element of it, right? Kind of going into where you were going with that a minute ago, which is that you have to stop and physically make time to put that record on, put the needle on, and be present with that piece of music and actually escape from everything else, right? Whereas I think we've gone through a period where actually a lot of our music has become muzak, where it's just there in the ether, in the background, and we've kind of absorbed music whilst doing lots of other things as well, and we haven't actually taken any time. Do you think that that's potentially right?
I have a similar like feeling about the future. I think like like after all this Spotify playlist where people don't even listen to the music anymore, they're like, oh god, I need more listen to it. Oh my,
They just show it off as a collection.
Yes, it's just about numbers and like Spotify playlists. They don't even listen to the songs anymore. It's just like boom, boom, boom. Oh, like I got money for it. Cool. Yeah, I put it on playlist. Like, but after that time, like I call it the nihilistic time. I think we are going slowly back to like really appreciating truth and music and beauty and music again.
Good. I'm pleased. I'm pleased. I feel we're on the same kind of wavelength there. Having said all of that, you and your music will appear on this Spotify playlist after the show, which is now standing at my playlist. It's only for those people that truly want to spend some quality time. It's standing at the moment about 8.5 hours, my playlist. So it's not for the faint-hearted. It's featuring people that have been on this show since the beginning. I'm still building it, but you will go straight on that as well. It's going to end up. It's going to end up probably a whole day's worth of music. And folks, I just encourage you to take a whole day at some point and just listen to it. Just a whole day, right? Don't stop. Maybe get someone else to buy you or bring you cold drinks in the middle of that. That would be nice. Talk to me about your music, because you know, so you've got this intellectual side to yourself, you know, this want to study music and how we live and what we're doing with the planet, but you also like to get up there and actually crack the whip with, you know, in front of an audience, which is great. Yeah, literally.
Thank you.
And can I just say as well that having listened to your last album as well, what a lovely sort of journey it is in terms of different genres as well. Not that I like the word genres. What a nice palette of sounds it is as well. You know, because you've certainly got sort of like the more heavy, you know, sort of rock numbers out there with a bit of glam in there as well, and then you dive into shoegaze, etc., and you take us off onto a journey. You know, where did all that start?
I'm trying to make like something new, and like the concept like of an album, I want to take the listener on a journey. Like for example, the album Lioness, there I put it like I wanted to mirror like the breakdown that will happen 2 years later, and then like it was like loud. It starts like loud, and like there was some krautrock bits in it, like mirroring the staccato life, and then it goes to, and then the B side, like I put like on the A side all the loud. I set your house on fire. That's like intended when like Trump was elected. So I was like, I put it like as an ironical piece there. And then on the B side, there's all these slower songs which have like, they have kind of like elements, like nature elements in it. And they're a little bit like, oh, where's this going? So I wanted to like mirror the time we live in, like what happens after the breakdown, after the collapse, after collapsing everything. Like, and then we need to go back to like, then we feel like, oh wait, we are human beings again. Like, no, and then
so in a way, your music, your album, your output, etc., is almost like a philosophical writing stroke journey as well, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yes, it's kind of intended like that.
Well, yeah. You're trying to. Yes, yeah, you're actually achieving that very, very well.
Thank you.
How how have audiences responded to that? Do you find that audiences sort of join you on that journey as well? And do you get feedback that, you know, sort of takes you further with what you're feeling?
Oh yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh God, like what am I doing? Am I going too crazy? Like sometimes, like or like playing some weird live shows. But then I get like, oh no, that was actually cool. So I'm more like confident, like doing what I want to do or what's happening. And I don't know. I'm trying to grasp like the what's happening in the world right now, and I try to put that in art, like, but and I try to not to forget, like to forget my ego while doing that. So I just want to be a medium of like
Yeah,
things.
it's sort of like not portraying a particular ego, if you like, but actually portraying the art first. Is that quite important to you? Because I noticed
Yes.
on your website, which is beautiful, by the way, the lovely
Thank you.
black and white, etc. I found that particularly beautiful to look around. But I noticed, like, the first shot of you is, you know, it's not your face, is it? You know, we're looking at the back of you, which is great. But you know, that to me, it kind of almost feels like not sort of a Jim Morrison moment where he, you know, was scared of the audience, but it feels like you know you're saying sort of don't necessarily look at me, but look at the overall, the art.
Yes. Yes, that's intended. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Who else? You know, you've met you on the website as well. You've got references to various other people that are sort of on this journey. Who else are you collaborating with?
I like Franz Bergman. He lives in Berlin. We've met like in the beginning of the pandemic, and he is from that krautrock area in like Berlin. He plays with Michael Ruther Neu. And yeah, so we are like on a journey since we met, like, and whenever I go back to Berlin, like he's joining me and playing gigs with me, and we just keep going. Or I played with Ben Ellis. He's currently touring with Wet Leg. He played with Iggy Pop, and he introduced me to Iggy Pop. So I could be on stage watching Iggy from very close, and that was very great because I learned a lot, and that was amazing to see Iggy like so close, and to learn. That was great. Yes.
Very visceral performer, Iggy. I mean, it had so much of it's from, you know, not just from his mouth, but from his whole body, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. All the movements, they are not like crazy, but they are very well done. Like just like little hand movements, or then yes,
all of that
dance movements, and it's just like perfect. Like,
yeah, very expressive. I bet you would have loved to have been around when Iggy was working with Bowie.
I would have loved. Yes. I wish I met Bowie at some point. I would love to have a talk with him.
Is that period of his work where he was working in Berlin, is that possibly your favorite Bowie period?
I like everything of David Bowie because for me he's an artist that I look up to. He always I think like during the times like he's always moving, and mirroring like what's happening in the world at the moment. Even his desk, he put his desk in an artwork, which is amazing.
I think he wanted us to think about the world in a different way as well.
Yeah.
Is that kind of a hope for you within, you know, your audience, looking at what you're producing, is that you're trying to make people reconsider
I think this is the task of an artist, like to make a better world, to make people see like through things that help people better understand the world and help like contributing to make the future a better place by opening like some insight or what can I say, like to make people understand more. And yeah, I think this is what an artist's task is, and mirroring the current state, like make people think about like to affect change in governmental decisions, economy, society as a whole. But
you strike me as the kind of artist that where we might in the future see you continuing to actually push in terms of all of the art forms, and maybe, you know, actually we see sort of releases where there's written work, there's art, you know, or if it's not all from you, your work with artists, visual artists, written artists, whatever, produce an overall palette. Would that be fair to say? Are you perhaps going along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of starting like combining more art forms. And the next album is based on sound frequencies, but love frequencies. So I'm trying to effect that with guitar pedals. And because I have apps, and then you can measure like what does the sound like for the audience, like what effect am I creating with the sound, and I want to do that with guitar. Maybe even also get like the rhythm, like make some krautrock pieces and like in the rhythm of like where it has like an effect on a positive effect, a positive feeling effect. And I started like doing paintings as well in addition. So I make art like based on old symbols, ancient symbols that have like, that when you look at them, it's like universal love as well. So I don't know yet, I haven't thought about the performance yet, but yeah, I'm trying to combine different things.
Wow, it sounds like you would love to spend some time with some of the artists that I love or loved over the years. I'm going to tag them in anyway, just in case we can sort of get them to, you know, get in touch and do things. I'm sure you would love to work with someone like Eno. Yeah. She's saying, yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely. And I think from a sort of more contemporary artist, maybe someone like Natasha Khan from Bat for Lashes, who's, you know, trying to explore the more spiritual side alongside the music side as well.
Yeah, I love her, but unfortunately she moved back to the UK. She's not far away from where I am now.
Yeah, but you know, everything's possible in the connected world, isn't
That's
it?
true.
Everything's possible. For people that haven't happened upon your music yet, where's the best place to start? What piece of music, what album would you like people to start with? Where's a good starting point, so that after we've spoken today, if people go to whatever it is that they're going to go to listen to your music and start off on the journey, what would you recommend as a good starting point?
Sorry. Well, I think my first album, Lioness, would be like an introduction to go on a journey, and then Princess. So yeah.
Do it. I listened intently to Princess yesterday, folks. It's a wonderful ride through some wonderful sounds and wonderful, and I don't mean this in disrespectful, wonderful noises as well, which I think were wonderful and made you kind of come out of yourself, which is a great thing. That's perhaps what music should do, is help you transcend what's going on in the world. But there are elements where you just want to dance as well, which is great. And maybe more of us should just do that as well from time to time during the day. And Monika, I knew you were going to be a great guest to talk to. Clearly, I'd love to stay in touch and find out about the stuff that you're doing as it comes out. You know, and if I can get involved in any shape or form as well, I'd love to do that because I feel anyone that's pushing or using music as a vehicle to kind of push our understanding of ourselves, which we really kind of need at this moment in time as a race. We need to understand where we are and where we're going. It is doing a fantastic job. You know, it's fine that there are people just making pop music. That doesn't mean anything. That's fine. That's up to them. But, you know, we need other artists that are trying to make us think about life a bit more as well. Monika, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on today. Please, folks, don't just leave it there. Now's your opportunity. It's like, you know, when you used to go to cinema and they say, now's the time to buy ice cream. Now's the time to buy ice cream. Except actually, it's now is the time to go and listen to Monika's music. Please go and do that. Have a listen to the playlist because I will be adding a track of Monika's later, as soon as I finish this, in fact, and it will be there for you to listen to as well. Monika, thank you so much for taking the time out today.
Thank you so much for having me. That was a really interesting talk. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you, folks. This is my music. You don't hear music interviews like this anywhere else. Sometimes people just ask silly questions like, what's your favorite biscuit? I don't do that. I talk to people like adults, you know, strange but true. If you've enjoyed this, please share it with your friends because frankly, they deserve it. And I'll be back soon with more of my music for your pleasure. Until next time, bye for now.